We're playing Air, Land and Sea, Critters at War.
But is it any good?
Let's table it.
Welcome to Box Meeples. I'm Julian and this is Libby, and this is a brand new section we are calling Let's Table It, where we take a game that we've wanted for a while and we give our first impressions. We'll play it and then we'll talk straight away about our thoughts on it.
Yeah, and we're starting off this series with Air, Land and Sea, Critters at War. And we specifically have been waiting to try to find that Critters version because there is another version of the game. We've struggled to find it at our friendly local game store, but happened to stumble across it whilst we were away the other weekend. Went into another game store, of course we did, and ended up picking up a copy of this one. It's a 2-player game, and you're sort of strategizing obviously at war, and you're playing over the sort of 3 different areas of the air, the land, and of course the sea, whilst you play down your cards.
Yeah, I've heard great things about this, and it's a very small game we can just take with us anywhere we go. And in fact, we are heading out now.
We are indeed.
So we're going to take it with us, and we're going to play a few games, and we're going to come back and tell you our thoughts on it.
See you in a bit. So we didn't just play one game of this, we played several games. It's quite fast paced, easy to do several rounds of it. You basically have to get to 12 points, and I think the more you play the game, the differently you're going to play. Initially, neither of us wanted to back down and sort of give points away.
To be honest, I was a bit underwhelmed when we first played it, because you have to control 2 theatres of war, do that twice, you win. Seemed quite simple, didn't seem much to it. Then the second game, that's when it kind of clicked into place, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of strategy going on in this game.
Yeah, and there's some really clever cards, and cards that will really mix up the game completely. There are cards that change the value of everything around it. There are cards that stop your opponent from being able to play any cards face down. And that is quite key to the strategy. Quite often you're going to be wanting to play a sneaky card, particularly maybe even a higher value card, face down, knowing that you have a card in your hand that would allow you to flip it later and really, boom, I've got control. Now come get it. Kind of.
What's really crucial about those face down cards is you don't have to put them in the theatre in which they belong. So you might be looking at your hands going, okay, I can control land, I've got a bit of sea. If I place this other one down face down, I might be able to reveal it later, and there's a tank in the sea. World's gone crazy.
And some cards even allow you to pick up another card from the stack, so you end up being able to play 7 cards if you do things carefully and cautiously. There's so much variety in such a small amount of stuff, and as I alluded to at the beginning, the scoring becomes more and more wild as you go along, because you're kind of duking it out, going for all or nothing, 6 points or no points. And then the more you start playing, you're thinking, oh, I haven't got any good cards. Oh, now they've stopped me from playing that. Oh, they've now played that card, which means that everything face down is now value of 4. Oh, gosh, there's no way I'm going to win this. And you think, right, well, I'll just fold and I'll give them 2 or 3 points.
I think we both agree that withdrawal mechanism is the thing that makes this game from, you know, they didn't need to have that. You could just have had the, playing cards out, this is fun. But that withdrawal is when it gets exciting, because you're playing this almost poker-like game where you're like, yeah, my 4 is you've got a great draw here.
Yeah.
And you've got nothing at all.
Yeah.
And you're kind of baiting your opponent to want to withdraw first, because the earlier you withdraw, the less points your opponent gets.
And then maybe the next round you're going to have a better hand. And so, or you can just try and fake that hand a little bit better than you did the previous one. But yeah, I really enjoy the artwork as well.
Yes.
I much prefer that to the sort of original kind of grey, warry kind of one. This gives it a lot more life. And I think you have a lot of banter across the table. So having the cards replicate that kind of fun and shenanigans that you're kind of going between the two of you works.
It makes it much more playful. You know, they're critters, yes, they're at war, but they're cute, adorable critters. It reminds me of the artwork that was in a video game series called Metal Slug. It kind of has that look about it. It's silly war. You know, it's almost friendly war, if you can have that weird oxymoron in a card game. And I think, yes, it does draw you in significantly into just enjoying the game. And it makes it much more appealing and accessible to share with people, because yeah, if you show people a boring, here's some war.
You're going to have the right audience for that.
Yeah, but this makes it much more kind of universally appealing. And yes, a few games in is when it really did start clicking and going, this is great. I now want to get the expansion, because I want more cards in there that do interesting things, because you get to know them, but that's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Because once you know the card, you know, okay, well, tactically it's best to use. There's not as many surprises in there. But then you also know that, well, I don't have that card. Do they have that card? Or is that the card that's hidden, a mystery? Knowing the cards allow you to start thinking on so many extra levels.
And such a nice small little box here. We can easily take it out with us, as we did today.
Yeah.
You can play it on a little coffee table. It doesn't take up a big space area. So yeah, little drinks tables, it works just fine on. So I think it's going to become a staple of the collection, really.
Yeah. Well, do let us know in the comments down below if you played Airland and Sea Critters at War, or indeed if you played the original one.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Do you have a favourite version? That would be great to hear. And of course, have you enjoyed this Let's Table It series? This is the first of it. Do you have any games that you would like us to add to the list for this series of games, so that will give you our first impressions?
So make sure you're subscribed for those upcoming videos and ring the bell for notifications. But good place to buy Critters at War is your friendly local game store, and our friendly local game store in the southeast of England is of course Chaos Cards, and they have a fantastic website.
They do indeed, and of course, as usual, we have our discount code there that you can use on that website to save yourself a few pennies at the checkout. Of course, the codes do refresh, so do check out the latest ones to make sure that you can actually save that.
Yeah, but as always, thanks so much for watching.
Bye.